Hey guys, welcome to another fun episode of BDC Cars. In today's video, I'll be taking you through all the steps that you need to follow in order to change your windscreen. My name is Linda Mbuyane and I'll be your narrator for today. Now, the first thing that we do with all the cars is that we perform an inspection. Now, inspection is very key because we get to understand in what condition the car came in so that we know exactly what to put back and in what steps as well. So, what we are doing now is actually checking if all the bolts are there, which check they are in place, all the clips are there, check that's in place. But then now there's something very troubling that I realize now is that this car has had a bit of rat infestation, and you can see by the chili powder that the owner of the vehicle had put on. Now this is what the bastard did. The rat came and actually chowed that pipe. Eish, these guys. Anyway, so we at least know that the pipe is an issue and we will get in touch with the client in case it's something that they want us to replace for them. All right, so what are we doing today? Well, today we start by removing the wiper blades from the vehicle. So we simply loosen the bolts and then just wiggle the wiper a little bit just to make sure that it pops out of place, and then get that out of the way, put it safely so that it doesn't get damaged. All right. And then second to that is we have to remove the trim, but then we start off by removing the corners. Now the corners secure your windscreen in place as extra supports, but then they also hide away one of the clips which we need to pop out of place. Now by popping these pins out, it's nice because you pop it right in the middle, and then it loosens the clip, and then you can push it up and out of place, and you can always reuse these clips. It's not like the old ones that used to get damaged whenever you remove them. Now with our trim out of the way, it's time for us to move on to our next step. I like the piano wire because it's nice and thin, and using pliers, you can actually wedge it right through the old glue into the inside of the car, where we will be able to move it back and forth. And because piano wire is nice and strong, it will not break as we work using it. More than anything, I really like that when you use the piano wire, there's always minimal damage because that is then controlled by the people using the piano wire. So basically, as you can see that it's nice and wedged inside the car. So what the guys will do is they'll put in some connectors on the inside and on the outside so that they can basically grab hold of the piano wire so that they can pull back and forth. So now as they pull back and forth, it's very essential that there is someone on the inside so that they can control where the piano wire goes rather, so that it doesn't damage the panels, that it doesn't damage the dashboard. And then the guy on the outside also ensures that the piano wire doesn't scratch onto the A-pillar of the car and, get rid of some of the paints, which would never be good. And sure enough, once the guys have cut their way around the glass, you get to see all the excess glue which is then left on the body. Now, what we will then do is show you a great technique on how to remove that glue. And of course, we prefer to take out the rearview mirror once the windscreen is out. And now using a scraping tool, we will go right through the body of the car, taking away all that excess glue which is left from the old window. Now, it is very important that when scraping away the glue, that you've got a very steady hand, because the problem is if that hand slips for any reason, you find yourself scratching the paint on the car, which we do not want. I cannot stress about precision on such a job. So kudos to these guys. They've been doing this work for many years. Very experienced, very good. And then now, as you can see the clip that this man is playing with, these come standard when your car comes directly from the factory, as that's what the factory uses to keep the windscreen in place. However, if your windscreen is done aftermarket, and then that's when we then use tape to hold the windscreen in place. Now, once the old glue has been cleaned off and the surface is nice and clean, we then use Sikaflex. Using a manual gun, we push out the Sikaflex onto the surface of the car where, we can't stress enough on precision. We have to stay within the guides of where to apply the Sikaflex so that it doesn't smear over onto the inside of the car or onto the paintwork. And more than anything, you do not want to have this stuff on your hands. It is nearly impossible to remove. Sikaflex is simply the glue that holds the windscreen in place. Now, the recommended waiting time for your Sikaflex to set is between 24 to 48 hours. This is also temperature dependent. Now that our glue is in place, it's time for us to bring out the new windscreen and put it onto the car. Now, before we have our final placement, we just want to make sure that the first thing that the guys do is set the windscreen onto the car, but then before putting it into its final position, they will first check that they've got all the gaps equal on all sides, because we don't want to have any wind noises coming through any gaps that don't have enough glue on them, or if it's maybe been misplaced. And as I said, that the tape is then used to ensure that it holds the windscreen up in place. But then now the guys are still checking if the windscreen hasn't moved, and in this case it has, so they're just going to shift it into place before putting that tape back on once again. Now, the tape is going to be here for at least 48 hours, and we've also advised the driver that please, you do not drive with your windows open. And now we start doing everything backwards. Now it's putting back all the trim, putting back all the clips, putting back all the wipers, and making sure that we put the car back together just the way that we found it. Nothing's missing. We tick all our boxes and we make sure that we've got another happy client. One question you may be asking yourself is, how long would this job take? Well, this takes about an hour, so if you're not driving out to the shop, and then you can always make an appointment for the guys to come out and do the windscreens for you at your workplace or at your home. But just schedule that hour just so that they can complete the job properly. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more content. Follow BDC Cars on YouTube, BDC Cars on TikTok and Facebook, and also like and subscribe. Thank you.